Hello, and I want to welcome you to another segment of Tell It Like It Is. I'm your host, Morris, man, and my co-host is
Joseph Spencer.
And today our topics are this. The first one is lie detector tests and how they're not as accurate as everybody would like to think that they are or been told that they are. And the other topic is Kevin Trudeau and why is the government singling him out and picking on him. And we're going to touch on both of those now. I'm going to open it up with the lie detector thing. We are led to believe that these machines can really determine if you're lying or you're not, when actually the only thing they do is determine your body's reaction to these questions. And here's a scenario. You're 18 years old, minding your business, coming home from school or work or whatever, and the cops pull up on you and take you to jail, and they question you and ask you, did you steal something or whatever? Of course, your heart is going to be racing and you're nervous and scared. And the machines, unfortunately, picks up these reactions, and it doesn't mean that you're guilty, just to mean that you're scared. And who isn't scared under those circumstances or a little nervous? You know, so it's just unfortunate that we try to, or the people that make these machines, the law enforcement and other agencies, they want you to believe that these machines do what they claim that they do, which really they don't, because, again, these machines are gauged to your reaction to the questions. Now, DNA is a whole nother topic because that's a done deal. It's scientific, and it is what it is. But these lie detector tests are based on the person that's administering it, the analysis of the question that you asked, their summary as far as we believe that they were truthful here and they weren't truthful there. So, you know, unfortunately, they're not what they cracked up to be. I'm going to pass it over to Joe, get his opinion on what he thinks.
At one time, I was handled cash, and goods. So it required me to have a lie detector to see if I was stealing or not, or taking goods that didn't belong to me. I passed. Now through the years, I began to realize that some people had told me this: all you had to do is put a tack in your shoe. When they ask you a question, you called yourself, caused that little pain in your foot, and would change the outcome of the lie detector test. But what I know about lie detector tests, it works upon your respiration, respiratory system, and your heart.
Yeah, cardio.
Cardio.
It has nothing to do with this machine can pierce into your brain and determine what you're saying is true or not. But we've been led to believe that, and it's unfortunate that these machines are still being used to try to determine that. Because here is something interesting: when the guy that administered these come up with this scenario or this statement, it's inconclusive. And basically what that means is I can't read it. I can't determine whether he's lying or not.
Right.
But if the machine's supposed to do what it do, you should be able to get an accurate reading each time.
Right.
So what is it in this instance that doesn't give you an accurate one, and this one is inconclusive? And that's because people's bodies' reactions are different. Because if you're in the military or high-ranking intelligence agencies, they have trained you to beat these tests. I was watching an episode of Seinfeld once, and the character Jerry was trying to get next to this female cop, and he was watching some soap opera show, and he claimed that he didn't watch it, and she said, I don't believe you. So she said, I'm going to give you a lie detector test tomorrow. He went to his friend George, and he said, if anybody can beat these things, you can. What is the advice you give me? And what George said was, just remember this, Jerry, it's not a lie if you believe it to be the truth. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You know, so unfortunately, you know, these tests, and, you know, they have them on the Jerry Springer show or the Marvin Parvey show. You know, he said that he wasn't sleeping with these women, and that was a lie. You know, again, these machines cannot actually determine whether you're lying or not. They gauge the body's reaction. And on that note, we're going to move over quickly to the next topic. And this one is Kevin Trudeau and why the government singling him out. And before I kind of go into this, I'm going to say this. I'm a proud American. I don't want to be any other place in this world other than America. I love it, but sometimes when you're wrong, regardless of who you are, and whether you're the government or not. You know, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And throughout the years, I've noticed that they particularly deliberately go out and start singling out people. Because the reason why Kevin Trudeau was in the spotlight is, first of all, I have the utmost respect for him, because when I got sick with given a lot of antibiotics and the doctors weren't helping me, I went to alternative methods and I read his books. And what he said, I went out and did my own research, Joe, and I spent 6 years researching this from all around the world. because I was at the point where I was about to die. So I was like, my life depends on getting better because the doctors are not helping me. Because what happens with the doctors, and I'm not going to stray away too far away from the topic at hand, here's the cycle, Joe. When you go to the doctor and you say, I'm not feeling well, this is my problem, my aches and my pains, they usually either do tests, but nowadays, since the insurance company don't want to pay for tests done, the doctors are forced to try to give a quick analysis of your issues and then just give you medication. And when they can't determine what's wrong with you, or when they give you stuff that's not working, now they switch into phase 2. It's just in your head. It ain't nothing wrong with you, which is an arrogant statement, because I'm like, nobody knows your body better than you. Than to have some guy that you just met 20 minutes ago and only known for 20 minutes going to tell you what this is your problem, and it's not, you know. So unfortunately, you know, like I said, I did my own research, and the majority of stuff, if not all of it, that Kevin Trudeau speaks of is true. I have not found not one thing that he mentioned in any of those books, because I've read all 3 of his books, that's not true. But here's the reason why. You might be asking, well, why are they picking on him? Here's the reason why. He's a whistleblower. You know, there's a system going on that, you know, that people work within, and they don't want nobody else outside that circle to know about. And when you start blowing the whistle, they come after you and shut you down, regardless of what motivates you to tell the truth at this point in your life. Because I'm not saying Kevin Trudeau's an angel, because he's not. But I don't think he deserves a 10-year prison sentence and a $37 million fine, because I'm like, that's the kind of money that they charge fine corporations, not one dude. So normally when the government starts to single out white dudes, you need to start listening to those white dudes and trying to figure out why they're singling them out, because Michael Moore is another one that they're going after for no apparent reason other than he's telling the truth. Because the whole thing around Kevin Trudeau's conviction was the diet book. And they claimed that it was a false, fraudulent book, and you know, he's going to have to go to jail for that. I'm like saying to myself, 98% of the books, diet books that are produced or written, they're all frauds. So why aren't these guys, other guys, going to jail? Because I mean, I read the diet book, and I'm about to put up a picture of this is what I looked like a couple of years ago. I almost wore 300 pounds. I read that Kevin Trudeau book, and me and my sister, we lost 30 pounds apiece. And here is the, then I'll let you chime in. Here is the concept around that book. And it makes sense, and it's actually scientifically true. We are no longer cavemen, meaning that we don't go out and hunt, or we're not cavemen, meaning that, you know, when we get hungry, we go to the supermarket, we go to McDonald's and get fed. 100 million years ago, there was no supermarket, and your meal was out there in the woods, and you had to go get it, or you became somebody else's meal. So there's a mechanism in the brain that's still prehistoric, meaning that when you miss a couple of meals, your body thinks it's getting starved, so it goes into
storage mode.
Famine. You know, it goes into it shuts down, it slows down the metabolism. Famine mode. It shuts down slows down the metabolism, and it starts to store your fat. You know, and Kevin Trudeau books talks about how to adjust that mechanism, because this is not, you know, 100 million years ago. And basically that's what the concept of that book, and it makes sense and it's true. You know, because again, when you call yourself going on these self-acclaimed diets, you don't know what you're doing. You have no medical you know, participation or being under medical supervision when you're doing this. Your the metabolism slows down, and you're still hungry. So unfortunately, you know, this is why they're going after Kevin Trudeau, because Kevin Trudeau talks about a lot of truthful things, and the government doesn't want you to know about certain things, you know. Because here's one thing about some of the stuff that he talks about, and I did my research, and it's true. Drug companies, they do their own research on their product before they have it go through the FDA approval. Yeah. And they have determined, Joe, a lot of these companies from their own research that these drugs that they're giving you is going to damage your liver and most likely kill you. And they do the math. They say, okay, if we put this out, it's going to take about 5 years before these people start to get sick and die and start popping up with lawsuits. Yeah. We've already made like $1 billion off our product. We can take a $30 million hit from lawsuits. We
Right.
still good.
We still
and
good.
that's what they do. You know, and you saying probably right now, that's not true.
That's
Are
true.
they that heartless and callous?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They doing the same thing with cars.
That's-
like
yeah.
like is it GM or was it Ford?
Yeah, faulty cars.
Faulty cars. They've
And
been
it-
doing it for the last 9
Yeah,
to 10 years.
and they keep quiet until people get killed,
Right.
and then they start popping up with lawsuits.
Pay them off. You know, get that little family $35 million. You know.
And that makes sense because
Yeah.
I mean, when they do the math and you do the math with them, it's like, okay, I made $30 billion. I'm gonna get hit with about maybe $50 million lawsuits or something like that. We still made X amount of money, so we're gonna do this. And they know this, and they
know it.
do it anyway.
I found this out. What he's saying is true. I found this out in my 20s.
Yeah.
You know,
I was shocked when I found that because I'm like, dang, do the government allow them to do this?
No, the government
Yeah.
really don't really allow them to do it. They get
Well, they
away
don't
with-
realize, the government doesn't realize
Right,
it
just right,
until.
right.
Exactly. But it's been enough of this going on that the government needs to say, we need to take a closer look at this because we can't have anybody dying up in here. It's one thing as far as somebody oversell you a car that costs too much. You're not going to die and you can live to tell a story. But when they start messing with your life, that's when it's like the line should be drawn to say, hey, enough of this.
And we're not talking about 1 or 2 cars. We're talking about
Hundreds.
what?
Yeah.
Not hundreds. I think it was a couple 100,000.
Could be. Yep.
You
But
know,
we're gonna make this episode segment short because our production assistant is over there is giving us, the heave ho or the sign. So
Yeah.
we're gonna be signing off at this point. And as always, I thank you guys for coming to my show. And my name is Morris Mann and my co-host.
Joseph Spencer.
And until next time, keep thinking.